Welcome to Catch and Go. In today's telecast, we're going to do part 5 of the title called God's Prophecy, the Sequence. Below it, you write accelerate and simply the sequence. Because on January 20, 2025, which is today, prophecy has just accelerated. And in this acceleration moment, what you're going to see is the revived Roman Empire, a one world government, a one world currency, and the establishment. For PowerPoint number 1, simply write the Abraham Accord. For PowerPoint number 2, simply write the false peace treaty. For PowerPoint number 3, write the rebuilding of the third temple. For PowerPoint number 4, write World War III. For PowerPoint number 5, write the establishment. Let us get started. Sometime last week, the grace of God spoke, and he said he was going to put the whole world on notice. That was going to happen. It's going to be in acceleration. Not only everything is going to accelerate, but global sequence at level like never seen before. The Lord opened my eyes. Let me take my time and explain. He opened my eyes, opened the window, showed me everything dark, pitch dark. And then the grace of God followed by saying, drought. We are about to see somewhere in the near future, and perhaps a whole lot sooner, Revelation 6:1, and the Antichrist comes on the world stage, because we are in the making of prophecy being fulfilled at accelerating pace. You're going to see that the Abraham Accord is going to be completely fulfilled. That's going to be between 3 nations. The nation of Israel, the U.S., and also Saudi Arabia, and Saudi Arabia's crown prince with Donald Trump. Now, the grace of God said something immediately into this telecast. When I said the nation of Israel, when I said the U.S., and when I said the nation of Saudi Arabia, and when I said before that the Abraham Accord will be fulfilled and complete, the grace of God said to me, and Gerald Kushner becomes the middleman also to fulfilling the mandate of the Abraham Accord. And I will circle that, if I was you, what the Lord just said, that Gerald Kushner plays a very critical but vital and important role in this moment where prophecy is going to be fulfilled at such accelerating pace. But from Daniel chapter 9, verse 24-27, from Daniel 8, from Daniel 7, Daniel 2, also from Daniel 11, the kings from the north and the kings from the south, but especially what's in the making is Daniel chapter 12, verse 1. And what you got also in the making is from Matthew 24, verse 15. And there are also other scriptures in the New Testament that talks that there will be a time in civilization and on earth and in the world where we're going to see the establishment, the fulfillment of a thing called the abomination and desolation. And the grace of God said to me in the Olivet Discourse, keep that in mind. The glory of God said to me, rumors of war and war among nations and war breaking out. And you're going to see that there is going to be even more war, and war is about to break out somewhere in the near future. You got the Psalms 83 battle. You need to understand the fall of the nation of Syria and the ousting of its president, President Assad. What's the significance and what role does it play in biblical ancient time and in biblical prophecy in establishing the moment where the world will see the Antichrist and the rise of the Antichrist in the coming mark of the beast? I've already talked about the false peace treaty. I talked to you that more than likely Trump's fulfill not only that false peace treaty, but it also can be that God said in part 1 in the title, in which I did January 20, 2025, God's prophecy, could be that the grace of God uses the Saudi crown prince along with Gerald Kushner to fulfill this prophecy right here when it comes to the covenant with many, and where there it talks about in Daniel that there's going to be a prince that makes the covenant, but that becomes the false peace treaty. Then at some point, the Antichrist comes on the world stage. Also, I said, could it be, and more than likely, I said yes, that Donald Trump more than likely fulfills the fulfillment of the third temple being rebuilt. And you heard me kind of pause there for a second, because I'm going to tell you what just blew my mind away. And everyone needs to pay attention. And everyone needs to listen to this message in this title, and where I'm speaking now and talking concerning God's prophecy, the sequence, accelerate, and of course the sequence. Something happened so dramatically and so powerful that you have heard me say over several years now, and since 2008, 2009, 2010, and so on, where the grace of God said to me, that the glory of God said these words, and you can take this up with God. God said that I am one of God's end-time seer and God's prophet to bring revelation concerning, are you ready? Doomsday clock. Not only a prophet that speaks on dooms in the doomsday clock, God's confirming and bringing confirmation and revelation and revealing the thrust of the call in my life, where God sent me out to Southeast Asia. And when I felt the call, I went out to Southeast Asia to fulfill the mandate of that call. The glory of God did something dramatically, and I'm going to say why I say it that way. Because the glory of God, when I said that Trump fulfills the mandate of the rebuilding of the third temple, God quickly popped the window open. He showed me an angelical with the trumpet in his mouth, and then immediately he opened my ear to hear that angelical was sounding the trumpet, and the trumpet blast, and the glory of God said to me, the last trumpet. And I believe that we're in for a rude awakening. Could it be that in such a short time, in such a short moment, remember I did a title called Time is Short, but time is no longer short. We're living in the moment of what God just said. Are you ready? God said we're living in the moment of the dispensation period, where the Lord is bringing closure to civilization. And the Lord said to me, now in the end of the church age, the end of the church grace period, the end of the dark age, in the glory of God, saying the doomsday clock and doomsday, where the glory of God is about to not only cause things to accelerate, but in the title in which I did God's prophecy, January 20, 2025 at 2:54 p.m., where he spoke from Revelation chapter 13, verse 5 and 7. The glory of God is sounding the alarm that was going to happen any moment now. In this global sequence, in the sequence of things accelerating, the glory of God saying that when you saw me and went ahead and told you concerning the dramatic moment that has major implication, but something that it's about to be fulfilled, God not only opened my ear, and then he popped the window open. I saw the angelical with his trumpet in his mouth. He popped my ear open to hear the angelical blow the trumpet. We are in Joel chapter 2 verse 1. Could it be the fulfillment of Joel chapter 2 verse 1? Could it be that we are going to go over not only to Joel chapter 3 verse 2, where there is going to be a moment where they're going to sign over on that two-state solution? Remember, Trump fulfills also the mandate of the two-state solution. Trump fulfills the mandate of the rebuilding of the third temple. Trump fulfills not only complete with the Saudi crown prince and with his son-in-law Jared Kushner. They fulfilled not only the mandate of the Abraham Accord and then back ushers in the false peace treaty, but remember the fall of Damascus and the fall of the nation of Israel not only ushers in the Antichrist, but a new world order being established. I want to go to PowerPoint number 4, and that is World War III. And let me say this, that God spoke something to me just now. He said to tell the world, and this one you got to circle. He said, tell the world not to take things lightly because you're going to see the sequence of major things and major global event. And he said to me, signs and cosmic signs. And God said to me, and a star falling from the sky. And God said, the star wormwood. Look what he said. And there's going to be a star falling from the sky, a star called wormwood. And then after that, the Lord opened my eyes. Immediately after he opened my eyes, after saying a star called wormwood, the Lord showed me Satan coming down like lightning, that falling star and that falling angelical being. And the glory of God said to me that the world, this one you also want to circle. He said the world is about to see Lucifer. He didn't say Satan. He didn't call him the devil. He called him by his name, Lucifer. The Lord said to me, the Luciferine, where nations are going to come together and they're going to build and put in place in a moment, in a very dark moment in the world, what you're going to see is a dramatic change. Let me say that again, and you heard me use that word over and over. A dramatic change when it comes to the satanic, diabolical invasion. If you think you saw something in 2020, if you think you have seen something when it comes to 2021, 2022, and 2023, and 2024, diabolical and satanic things that are happening in the world and on earth, the glory of God saying, you haven't seen yet Sodom and Gomorrah. In other words, what you're going to see is that you're going to see more and more Sodom and Gomorrah. The Lord said these words, and what you're going to see is like Lot coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Let me take my time and explain to you why the Spirit of God said, and like Lot coming out of Sodom and Gomorrah. Can I go ahead and tell you what he meant and what is divine purpose behind those words that he not only released into my spirit and opened my ear to hear, not only into the realm of the spirit, the voice of the very living God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of Israel. And the Lord is saying that what you need to understand, why he said, like the times of Lot, when Lot came out of Sodom and Gomorrah, and practically the Lord had to force Lot out of Sodom and Gomorrah. The glory of God is saying, because simply what you're going to see is that the saints are going to be removed out of the earth. God is speaking from Luke chapter 17, where the glory of God is saying that it will be like the time of Lot. When he brought Lot out, God is going to bring the church, the saints, and believers out. And this is what he said. And what you got is the start of the 7-year tribulation period, which God has been speaking for the last several weeks. God is about to remove the saints and believers. Now, for PowerPoint number 5, the establishment. And God said to me immediately, the 11th hour, the establishment. I'm going to leave it right here in this title called God's Prophecy, the Sequence, Accelerate, and Sequence. You need to understand one more thing, that there is coming a drought. There is coming global famine, global crisis. And God said to me also was coming from Amos 8:11. It's the famine of the hearing of the word of God. There's coming a famine of the hearing of the word of God. In other words, let me explain the falling away and say in a more deeper and profound way with biblical sound clarity in the falling away. One of the things that you're going to see is that the Lord said something, and I'm going to say to you what he said, is that there is going to be a drought of the hearing of the word of God, a famine where people will literally no longer really care about where their souls will go or where the souls will wind up. There is coming a thing where the Lord said to me to remind you of what I said back in the year 2020. And that is that out of convenience, many will sell away their souls. They will take the mark of the beast so that they can be able to live not only every day, be able to go grocery shopping, be able to shop in the malls and go to places, be able to travel, despite there going to be a ban to traveling during the year of the Antichrist. If you don't have the mark of the beast, the glory of God is sounding the alarm. And now I'm going to tell you what he said to me before I explain all this. The glory of God said also a moment and a time where there is going to be a famine of the hearing of the word of God, but also man and woman and preachers preaching sermons with itchy ears. God said full of itchy ear, pleasing the crowd, but also pleasing their supporters and not daring to release the very uncompromising word of God and the things that God has spoken them to release, because they are afraid of losing their sheep and their flocks, but also losing, I'm going to tell you what the Lord just said, losing not only their support, but losing their financial support. And God is going to pull the string when it comes to those preachers. Remember, God said to Peter, do you love me, Peter? Do you love me, Peter? Do you love me? And he said, then shepherd, not only and take care the sheep, tend the sheep, and be the overseer that I called you to be. In this title, God's prophecy, the sequence, accelerate, sequence, what you're going to see is more global event and catastrophic event where the Lord said that eventually what you're going to see soon is a star called wormwood coming down to the earth. And God said, in the water turning into bitter. Not only into bitter, but it's a very bitter moment for civilization. Because in this title, in which I did prior to this one, God's prophecy, January 2025 at 2:54 p.m. from Revelation 13 verse 5 to 7, the glory of God said that he was about to make a bold statement. And the glory of God said that what's coming is not only removing of the old, but the establishment of the new and the reshaping and shaping of new rules, new laws in place. And what you got here is a new world order, not only a new world order, but a revived Roman Empire. I'm going to begin to close with this one stern warning to the backslider, to the lukewarm, those that are wax cold, from those that are drifted away from their first love, to remind you that God has been making a special appeal, reaching out to you from a place of not only his mercy and his love, reaching out to you that you need to quickly run back to your first love. You need to quickly reposition yourself and get in position, get into a time of weeping and fasting and praying so that you can hearken to the voice of God, because God has been speaking from Revelation chapter 2 concerning the 7 churches. And here is my stern warning. As you know, that in this telecast and in this title, God's prophecy, the sequence, accelerate, and then of course sequence, the glory of God opened the window, and you heard me say that God took me, and I said the word dramatic, into this dramatic divine moment where he opened the window. I saw the angel with the trumpet in his mouth. Then God opened my ear to hear the sound of the trumpet, and then he said, the trumpet judgment. And you know that that is the start of the 7-year tribulation period, and also what you got in the making. I said, Daniel chapter 12, verse 1, the Lord takes the saints out. He removes the saints. We go up in the Lord said in a pillar of cloud. The glory of God takes us up in glory. He not only sweeps us out of the earth, we fly on wings of eagle, and we're standing in the glory of God forever in his pavilion, in his glory. God reminded me of something that he said that I need to release part 8 of the title, The Kingdom of Heaven at Hand, because God spoke and God said and God explained something so profound when it came to Revelation chapter 3 verse 10. I'm going to go ahead and explain quickly what God said from Revelation chapter 3:10. But what I'm going to do, I just felt that I better just hold on, and so that you're looking forward to listening to part 8 of the title, The Kingdom of Heaven, It's at Hand. Now, I close with this, and this is what I want to say. That God said that he was about to make a bold statement. And I told you that God spoke from Joel chapter 2 verse 1. The sound of the trumpet. And then we're going to see the fulfillment of a two-state solution in the church going up in glory. God flushing not only the remainder believers and the saints and believers that more than likely will still be here, and those that will become believer during the 7-year tribulation period with the 144,000 God's in time remnant, more than likely God thrusts his sickle and sends the church into the book of Acts. But when God thrusts his sickle, the first thing that he does, he takes out the fig tree, and that is you and I. But God has been speaking from Psalms 92 verse 10, 11, but I've always said pay attention to verse number 12, the smearing of the oil, and the oil in joy, in the sweet smelling fragrance of the rose of Sharon, in these end time biblical moment where the glory of God is saying we are even closer and closer, in seconds away. The good Lord is saying from the rapture and the Antichrist coming on the world stage. May the Lord so richly bless you. Remember to click like, share, subscribe, hit on the bell to receive our latest telecast. And remember, I catch you on my next telecast of Catch and Go. God bless.